Thanks for being here. I'm curious as to something you mentioned in your response to the open call, where you said you wanted to advance the view of the cis straight man beyond toxic or performative masculinity. So I really wanted to start with that, but before that, can you please tell me how you identify?
Sure. I identify as a cis male. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I am both white and Mexican.
I see. Okay. Do you identify as straight?
I do, yes. I also identify as straight.
I see, okay. Can you tell me how it is that you wish to advance the perspective beyond those things?
I think there's a lot of weight and airtime given to a particular type of masculinity that is, or like when one thinks of the word masculinity, the image to me, when I think of the word masculinity, I often associate it with like machismo and like this type of kind of roughness, and I'm interested in exploring like the softness around masculinity also, and allowing room for softness to have space within the idea of masculinity.
Can you describe what you mean by softness?
Yeah, I mean like vulnerability. It is the relational. It is softness. I think about as like being flexible and allowing others to take the lead. Also, that it's power sharing. I think about that as a kind of softness. I think also about like a connection to emotions and the spiritual as well. I think all of these kind of create the constellation of around softness.
I see. Do you find? Well, I guess I should ask you. Do you usually hang out with other straight men?
I don't hang out with a lot of straight men.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, like my closest friends are all women, and I think it's hard for me to find spaces to connect with men that aren't like sports things, or I really don't have any interest in like I'm very interested in the arts, and so to connect with finding men who are interested in this in like art life stuff is a little trickier sometimes. I am a part of a men's group therapy group, and so I do connect with men, like other and cis straight men in that, and so there's, I have one close relationship because of that with a cis straight man. But I find myself connecting more with women and queer people, just because I feel safer around them.
You feel safer.
Yeah. I mean, I was raised in a dance studio. My mom owns a dance studio, so I was around women a lot. I think that when I am with men, like I'm a part of a leadership group in Lincoln that we had a retreat, so we had to go and all stay together, everyone who was a part of this group, and like most of the guys there were interested in their fantasy football games and talking a lot about sports, and I just didn't feel like much common. I didn't feel like I had many common interests with them. That was hard.
Interesting. I'm really fascinated by these distinctions you make between other straight men and yourself. I think particularly because based on how you describe yourself and who you find community with, these are all things that I identify with, being trans femme. But I don't identify as straight, nor do I find any commonality with the straight world, as many of us term it. So, would you, let's see, I have many questions. Okay. So I'm trying to regroup them in my mind. In your view, as far as what it is to be straight, do you find it for yourself to be simply a matter of who you find sexually attractive?
I find it as it's who I want to have sex with, and these have been women that I've wanted to have sex with.
I see. So is this why you identify as a straight man?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you wish that...
But I'm also not so sold on gender binary, like that. I think there's a kind of expansiveness in that. I don't know if that's
And expansiveness in what?
Yeah, it just as it relates to like gender, right? I think that there's and gender and sexuality. So there's I think it's like I am straight, but I've also had experiences or encounters with non-men as well. I'm sorry, non-women is what I meant to say. Yes.
I see. So have you always thought of yourself as a straight man?
Yes. Yeah.
Even in moments when you were having sex with people who were non-women, as you said.
Yes, I wasn't necessarily having sex. Like I've kissed some guys, and but it wasn't necessarily like these like it was situational, I guess, and hasn't been my primary practice, I guess you could call it.
I see. Okay. How old were you when you realized you were straight?
I guess when I became aware of my sexuality, or like who I am as a sexual person. So that must have been like my early teens in terms of thinking about like straightness.
See. Is there a specific type of person that you found attractive at that time?
I don't know if there was a specific type of person, but the people that I had like crushes on were all girls.
Was there a specific type of girl that you found attractive?
So there was I'm thinking about trying to remember people that I had crushes on as a young person. They were kind of all over the place physically, but they were mostly people that danced at my mom's dance studio. So the people that I was around a lot. And also there was a kind of, because I was dancing with these people, there was also a kind of intimacy there that lent itself to me developing crushes on these people. Because there's, we were touching each other, we're dancing, or I'm helping, them flip around or something like that.
Was there anything physically that you found attractive about them?
I liked boobs, so I was like, wow, you know, I remember when I saw like the first pair of boobs, and I was like, whoa, that's gets me excited. So there was that, but yeah, I'm trying to think. Maybe I think all of the people that I really had like crushes on as a young person, as I was awakening to like, there are people that I think are attractive, or I have these like kind of sexual urges for, I think they were all around my same age. I don't know, like I'm not sure, because there were girls. There was like this girl with like red hair and pale skin, but then there was also like the little Mexican, the Mexican girl also in my class who did not have pale skin, who had darker skin. Yeah, I think that there's something about these people that I had crushes on that they gave me some attention. I like that. So I think that's been something that's been kind of constant throughout. That's like, oh, well, this is nice. I'm not necessarily someone that always gets a lot of attention in terms of like people thinking that I'm cute or telling me, at least. Maybe they may think it, but no, they don't really tell me.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you find that that's the case with people that you are seeking out, or have you ever felt that comes from people whom you don't find attractive? And does that make you feel a certain way?
It's a good question. I want to make sure I understand it. Is it that the people that do find me attractive, I don't find attractive, and so then I have a kind of feeling is that I don't like? Is that the question? Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily the case, because I don't get a lot of people, a lot of people telling, I don't get a lot of people telling me if they think I'm attractive on either side, so of the spectrum of what I'm attracted to. So I think it's like, it helps to know that there's like clarity, that someone thinks that I'm attractive, and then that can help open some space for me to not feel like I am providing like unwanted attention to someone.
I see. Does that inform the way you find someone attractive, even from afar?
I don't think so. I think that a lot of people are attractive. I just might not say something about it or do something about it, which is great.
Are all these people women?
No. I think that there's cute guys who I'm like, whoa, like they're like really cute, or I think, wow, there's like if I could try on what it's like to be this kind of level of cuteness, that would be interesting. That'd be cool. See that. So I guess there's like a tinge of jealousy when I notice like, oh man, that like they're like the level of attractiveness I wish I could be. Like I recognize that like they're attractive, and then I also, yeah, sometimes there are some people that I encounter and I'm like, wow, that's a really beautiful person, and maybe it's something energetically and not just physically, the way that they carry themselves, or kind of confidence or something like that.
And these people are not exclusively women.
Right. But I'm not necessarily having sex with them or wanting to have sex with them.
I see.
Yeah. So I think for me, like that straightness is really tied to like who I want to have sex with.
Specifically who you want to have sex with.
I think so. I think that's what that is. You know, it's about
Right.
sexual orientation.
That's how I've understood it.
Yeah.
And yet of conversations that I've had, both for this project and outside of it, I'm informed time and time again of a fluidity that I was not aware of, that is really less about straightness as a community, as an overall identity, and more of it as a sexuality within the queer spectrum. Would you believe that that is an accurate assessment?
I would say so. Yeah. I think that it is, all of sexuality is on a spectrum, and it's interesting to place it within a queer spectrum, as if like on one end is straight and on the other end is completely not straight. I don't know what that word would be, you know, is like someone who's perhaps like totally not interested in people of the opposite sex or gender or something like that, you know. I don't know. Yeah.
So the opposite of queerness would be straightness. You
I
feel?
don't necessarily think so.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think queerness contains a lot that could include, you know, like heterosexual relationships can be included within queerness if it falls within a space of queer. I don't know how to describe this, but I think that like there can be sexual relations between people of opposite genders, and that can fall within queerness.
When would it not fall under queerness?
Oh, that's a great question. I think. I think about like with like homophobic people. I imagine. I don't know, but then maybe there is something inside of them that is. Yeah, I don't know what someone's motivation for being super homophobic would be beside, you know, I don't know. So, this is a great question. When would sex between people that are not of the same gender fall solely within not queerness? So that's the question. And that yeah, the only thing that I could think of is that maybe it's like when people completely deny queerness, perhaps, or you know, it's like a I guess maybe there is always a kind of engagement with queerness in sex. I'm not sure. I don't know. It's a good question. And I don't. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I wish I could give you something that is, you know, more succinct. But I also am. I think it's a kind of framing that I haven't quite explored or like fully thought out. Also, you know, it's yeah, I don't know. I don't think that I'm in my sexual encounters, I'm not necessarily thinking about queerness or not queerness or curious or like see what kind of intimacy might be like with them.
But you answered the open call as a cis straight man.
Yeah, because I identify as a cis straight man. I'm not having sexual encounter, like I haven't had an experience with a man since I was in my like second year in college, maybe, and that was different circumstances also.
Do you feel that queerness is solely about sexuality?
I don't. I think that queerness is about a way of thinking about and moving through the world.
What way is that?
I think it is like a way of thinking or moving that is doesn't put so many limitations or the word that I want to return to is expansive, but I also know that that's not a great descriptor in this moment. I think for people that are for like and I guess with the opposite of like queer would be like these people that have like a lot of limitations or don't allow themselves to be open to the possibility of like what if there's this person, what if there's another person, what if there's multiple people, what if there's this way of thinking, there's not everything has to be this or this, which is I guess like it's a freedom from a binary way of thinking, that there can be multiple things that are true at once.
It almost sounds like you're talking about liberation.
Yeah. Right.
Would you say that the straight world therefore is the opposite of that?
I think in many aspects of straightness, it is the opposite of liberation. I think but I also think that there is, one could be straight, and also there can be a spectrum within straightness as there could be a spectrum within queerness.
There is a straight spectrum.
I don't know. I mean, this is just what is coming to me, because I think about myself as a straight person, and I don't necessarily associate with I don't buy into like a way of thinking that eliminates options for other types of encounters or relationships or something like that.
That are not solely sexual.
Right.
Do you feel liberated in this type of perspective?
Yeah, I don't feel like I am like stifled or held back by identifying as a straight person. I think that my lack of my own kind of liberation is not tied to my straightness, but tied to all kinds of other type of conditioning that I work through with my therapist.
Right. You were at the very beginning of this conversation very vocal about what you find disappointing in a lot of straight men, as far as things that you are passionate about, but that the things that they were passionate about were not things that you were passionate about. And that you have found more community with women and with queer people, you said.
In the spaces I enjoy being in, I think there are fewer of this kind of heteronormative straight male person. And just because of the self-selecting that goes into the types of spaces I enjoy being in. Yeah.
Would there be a reason why you would not want to identify as queer?
I think it's I don't think I am. What's the reason? That's the question. I think it's I try to be aware of the space that I can take up, and I don't think that like the way I engage with my sexuality is like a super queer is like a queer thing.
But we spoke earlier
yeah.
about queerness not solely being about sexuality.
Right. Yeah.
I will share, for example, and you may be aware of this already because you are in community with a lot of queer people.
Right.
The concept of a safe space is a queer concept.
Yeah.
Have you ever asked or held a safe space for someone, with someone?
I think so. Yeah.
Would you identify that as queer behavior?
Well, with the information that you've given me about this, as like it's a queer idea, then now I'm thinking, I guess that is a queer behavior, but I wasn't thinking, and I haven't in the past thought about that as queer behavior, but as behavior that, for humans, I don't know, that like that's just it's a good thing to do. It is the right thing to do to make sure that there's space for people.
In your experience, if you're not comfortable with going into specifics, has there been a common thing or type of person that you have held a safe space for or asked for a safe space from?
So is there a common person for whom I've held a safe space?
Or actually, let's maybe we can be more specific, I guess. Have you ever asked for a safe space?
I think so. Because of the modality of therapy that I am in a group therapy for men, we set some agreements that included making sure that the space was that created the safe space. So like those agreements that are like rooted in empathetic listening and deep listening and confidentiality, and the way that we provide feedback to each other within that space is definitely an intentional safe space, but is also facilitated with the therapist.
Right.
So I think that's one way that I've asked for a safe space. I don't know if it's explicitly asked with my friends, but I know that closest friends, like that is my safest space.
People liberated enough to be emotionally open
Yeah.
with who they are, and to welcome you in that respect.
Right, and people who have gone through or engaged with a kind of like deep healing work also. I think that's the thing that is the through line with my closest friend group, is that there's been a lot of shit in our lives, but then also we are doing deep work to make sure that we're breaking cycles, and we talk about that a lot. And also knowing that like I can talk to them about things that I know without the context of knowing and loving me could be very complicated or difficult for people to hear or something like that.
It seems to really, as a contrast, be almost championing a world in which performative and toxic masculinity are no longer at the forefront of what we have to keep facing each day. And by we, I mean queer people.
Mm-hmm.
And by queer people, I know that I mean everyone. And the reason I say that is because time and time again, we have asked for safe spaces from exactly what you said at the very beginning, even before this interview. Toxic and performative masculinity are manifestations of the unliberated, who resent the rest of us who have had to do the work to liberate ourselves.
Right.
And we are in real time living the global horrors of what that has been.
Yeah.
So now I feel there is a fluidity that is arising out of a necessity to survive, where so many of us have forged safe spaces for ourselves, knowing what's been and anticipating what's coming. All of a sudden, our spaces are expanding. And with several people whom I've spoken with, very close friends even, who identify as cis straight men, there's been a hesitation in ever feeling like it's appropriate for them to enter a queer space as queer people, because they may feel, oh, well, it's not up to me to take up that space. When in fact, from the very beginning, all we've been doing is wanting to have a much broader conversation that informs our survival, but also to serve, at times unwillingly, as mirrors to the thing that we have been fighting this entire time, generationally. Why is there a stigma? Why the hesitation with embracing queerness as an identity? What does it give you? My question to you, what does it give you in life to not be queer?
There's there's like on a one level, I guess there is like I'm not sure. I need to think more about this because I don't know what that. What is it? Yeah.
I can tell you what it gives me in
Yeah.
life to not be straight.
Sure.
Liberation.
Yeah.
And queer is a placeholder term.
Mm-hmm.
And we find this out as time goes on, that terms come and go. I am consistently in awe, of this, of new generations that teach us different ways of how to be present with each other and to acknowledge each other. And queer, I believe, is something that encompasses what some people may even call the global majority. And there are even some people who just flat out refuse to be queer, and yet they may exhibit traits, lifestyle choices, attractions, passions that from afar one would consider to be queer based on one's own information in life. But, at the end of the day, what the fuck do any of us know?
Yeah.
However, there is a line in the sand between queer and straight people in this very moment as they define themselves as that. And when we're talking about physical attraction, when we're talking about something as simple to us and simultaneously beautifully complex as whom we find attractive, why do all of a sudden we draw lines in the sand when it comes to privilege? And I guess that's what that is what I was really getting at when I asked you that question.
Yeah.
Do you
there's
feel
a privilege that I have by being a straight man, or identifying as, or saying I am a straight man.
Do you feel that's the case?
Yeah. I mean, I know that there's that. There's the privilege of being a white passing man also, or a man passing man, I think that there's, there has been a number of things that I think if I was not a straight white passing man, I would have had more challenges, in terms of opportunities that have been given to me, or the way that I can move through the world. So there's that. Yes.
Here's the thing, though. You have had challenges.
Yeah. Right. Sorry, I didn't want to spike your sounds.
It's fine. You have had challenges, though, that I will say do not exclude you from the queer conversation. I mean, clearly you align yourself emotionally with that when you find so much community with us. Why would you ever feel that at the end of the day you hang up your queer uniform and go back to the straight world?
I don't think that I do hang up a queer uniform. I think that there's this feeling that like I'm not queer enough to like claim a kind of queerness,
Who's queer enough, though?
I think that's a great question. I don't know. It's very similar to the feelings that I have as a half Mexican white white person, you know, that like I don't feel like I am Mexican enough for certain spaces or activities. And same thing with I don't feel like I'm not fully white. I know I'm not fully white, and I have this kind of lens that I use when I move through the world that is informed by my whiteness, that is informed by my Mexicanness, that is informed by my my sexuality and my gender. Right. I mean, we're talking intersectionality.
Right. But are you happy with this privilege that exists? Do you find it justifiable?
I think it is. It's not. I don't think that. I think when you say justifiable, like, I don't know if that's. I don't think that the privilege that I have is just. And I think that I hope that I could use what I have, you know, amongst my number of resources that includes the privilege that I have to move through the world in the way that I do to...
But don't you justify privilege every time you use it?
I guess I don't necessarily think about all of the times I use my privilege. So what might that look like then to how might one deny a kind of privilege? It would mean I don't quite know what that looks like right now.
Welcome to the queer conversation.
Yeah.
That's really what it is, though.
Uh-huh.
And it sounds like you are doing the work.
Yeah.
I mean, really on what you've told me. I mean, you're in community with people who are not solely informed by their heterosexuality. In fact, there's things about those circles that you don't seem to really agree with or want to be a part of. So
right. Well, I think, you know, to borrow a phrase, I am kind of interested in decentering the sexuality from, you know, all of these things. I think that there is a kind of, with people who have a very narrow, unliberated sensibility that oh gosh, I lost my words. There's like a hyper focus on sexuality, you know, and I don't necessarily have that. It's not quite as central to my being. Yeah, I was reading a story about this. Okay, it's not really a story. It was just like I opened Reddit because I was opening Reddit, and it was like one of these "Am I the asshole?" things. And there was this father who was refusing to bathe his 19-year-old daughter who had very severe cognitive and physical disabilities because of he said, well, like, she has boobs, you know, she's naked, you know, like she's 19, I'm a man. And he was so, in this story, was so hyper focused on like nudity is sex, or so tied to sex for him. And I think that's a good example of this type of like hyperfixation on sex. Whereas the people that I enjoy spending most of my time with is not a kind of hyperfixation on, I mean, we'll talk about sex when it makes sense in the conversation, but like I'm not gonna not share a bed with my best friend because like I'm a man and she's a woman and it's a sleepover. He is my best friend. We've been best friends since we were 18 years old.
That's awesome. I appreciate the work that you do on yourself.
Thank you.
I really do. I appreciate the way you have shared so beautifully nuanced of how you feel about the way things are going and how you feel about your place in all of this. And I think you have perhaps knowingly even claimed a seat at our table that you are welcome to. And based on how you have shared of yourself and your warmth in the way you've shared of yourself, this informs me that this space that you have claimed at the table is a welcome one for you. And rightfully so. I have many friends who are cis straight men, so one could never ever say that I am cis heterophobic. And I can't help but feel in my own liberation so much empathy and even pity for so many, if not all, cis straight men in this world who still hold on to that label for dear life.
God, they're fighting hard for it.
Yes,
it's scary.
They are. They are. And it's not about converting people. I'm not here to convert anyone. I know where I've been, and I know firsthand what we're experiencing on a social political level. It's horrifying. It's a lot. And it's a manifestation of that, of this absolute fear of liberating the self, of acknowledging the pain, the unsurmountable pain that comes with having it be unaddressed for generations. And when we do the work on ourselves, we're undoing so much of it generationally, culturally. And work is hard. Nobody likes to work, but these are the fruits of that work. That you and I can sit at this table and have this conversation. And yet I was afraid of having a cis straight man come into my space today, Certainly after what happened last week.
Yeah.
In my experience, cis straight men are dangerous. Cis straight men are the most dangerous people on this earth.